What's up, YouTube? PokePrimer here, primed and ready to deliver you our Week 1 matchup here in the aDrive Army Battle League in the Blue League, Blue Division. It's referred to as the Blue League, so I'm going to go with that because it's 3 separate leagues. And Week 1 here, we are taking on the Starling City Slurpuffs with our boy, our front office, our legend himself. Legend. You see his beautiful face. See his beautiful face, that amazing beard.
Anyway,
we got the boy Jarret here.
What's up, guys?
So we got the team here to take on these Slurpuffs, and the Slurpuffs team is
It's a little scary.
A little scary. It's a bit of a rough way to start with our ragtag group of misfit toys here, but we're gonna make it work. His team consists of Dragonite, Nidoking, Empoleon, Darmanitan, Mismagius, Electros, Regice, Mega Gardevoir, Shaman, Terrakion, Pangoro, and Quagsire, with his Z-Crystal users being Terrakion, Dragonite, and Regice. So, a lot of threats there, man. A lot of threats.
I mean, we were talking yesterday, the biggest threat, in my opinion, is absolutely potentially facing a Scarf Terrakion.
Yeah, Scarf Terrakion is a monster. It really puts a lot of pressure on our team and really hurts us in the long run. So that's gonna be a bitch and a half. I said I was gonna be PG for that. Oh, who cares? I've given up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be a bitch and a half to face. And realistically, we don't deal well with the Scarf Terrak. Another thing that could be potentially an issue is Dragonite. Dragonite is always a threat because of that multi-scale. Getting up hazards is going to be crucial in this game, because if we don't, that thing is immediately more threatening.
Yeah.
If it doesn't come, for whatever reason, if he doesn't bring Dragonite, thank you.
I mean, clearly people aren't, averse to not taking their #1 pick.
Yeah, that's true. So.
Well, no, I don't even think he was the #1 pick. I think Megard was their #1 pick. So
it was an early pick, definitely, for sure. But Nidoking, again, is also a threat. Really hard hitting with that nice sheer force. Empoleon, hashtag the best defogger. If you ask Envy, it's the best defogger.
Well,
he's proved it. He's proved it.
I mean, one thing that I think you pointed out yesterday, that Empoleon's his only form
of hazard removal, yeah.
So, probably going to see Empoleon. And
more than likely, yeah.
That's not the worst thing ever, because
realistically, I think he brings either Choppleberry or Shuckaberry Empoleon, more than likely, if he brings it, because he's going to bring either Chopple to kind of like be able to defog off of our Mega Glade, or be able to knock out our Mega Glade, get rid of it, or he's going to bring the Shuka to try to evade Okos from things like Aerodactyl or Diggersby, or even potentially Wakan for Jolteon, but like a Spadef and Empoleon can still take a Jolteon Thunderbolt at the end of the day, so I don't feel like he would waste a Wakan on that, and like we have bigger threats for him to worry about. But still, regardless, Empoleon is definitely coming. Darmanitan, if it's Scarf, it's going to cause issues, but we have things we can handle it with without too much of a problem. This Maggie is kind of annoying, but again, it's not like a super big threat. Electros, only threatening because it doesn't have a weakness, like directly a weakness because of its levitate ability.
We also have a lot of hard hitters on the team.
We have a lot of hard hitters, and like typically Electros is normally run like Assault Vested, and realistically, some of our hardest hitters that are going to be hitting it are going to be hitting it on this physical side with like Mega Glade. So it's really not like a huge issue for us. Regice, again, another one I just don't particularly see having a great matchup. We have things like the Aerodactyl, the Mega Glade that just kind of fist Regice without any real issues. Mega Gardevoir, obviously a threat.
A couple of
hard-hitting special attacker. We have some options to deal with it, but it's still going to be a problem in the long run of the match, so hopefully we don't have to. Hopefully we can eliminate that thing quickly. Shaman, really bulky, grass type, but other than that, it's not like, you know what a Shaman can do. Basically, like it's very straightforward mon, so I'm not super worried about that. We can beat Shaman. Like, our team's made in a way that like Shaman can't really get going too much, and like we have a good chance of really messing that thing up pretty quickly. So we'll just kind of have to scout and see what kind of set he is throughout the match, but I think I'm not too worried about that one. Obviously, the Terrakion we already said is terrifying. Pangoro, if he's got Terrakion, I don't see, if he's bringing Terrak, he's not bringing Pangoro, 100%. Like, Terrakion's the more threatening of the two. If he brings Pangoro, I appreciate it, dude. If you want to hand us a W week 1, that's fine, but whatever. Just whatever floats your boat, man. If you don't like winning league battles, then don't win league battles. That's fine with me. And then his last mon is the Quagsire, which I could definitely see coming, potentially, if he wants to bring that on top of the Napoleon.
Especially dealing with Blacephalon.
Yeah, especially the second that, yeah. Because outside of us potentially running HP Grass Blacephalon, then we get pretty much walled by Quagsire. And, like, even if we get Beast Boosts going, it doesn't matter. Because it'll just come in and be like, haha, I'm unaware. Ignored.
Yeah, exactly.
So that could be annoying, but it's a good thing we're not bringing Blacephalon.
Yeah, I know that. It's a little surprising. When he first, when Jeff first showed me a team, I was like, "Where's Blacephalon?" Then I look more and more. I'm like, doesn't necessarily have the best matchup.
So first mon we're gonna be bringing is A-Double the Mega Gallade. Nice and shiny Mega Gallade will always be shiny because shiny Mega Gallade is better. Period.
I agree. Best shinies in the game.
Just going for a straight up 4-attack set, Close Combat, Zen Headbutt, Knockoff, and Poison Jab. Basically, this is a main way of taking out a majority of his team. Like, this thing hits so hard, it can knock out a majority of Mons, as well as kind of being our #1 way of beating a non-Scarf Terrak. If he is not Scarfed, if he sets up like an SD or something along those lines, and we see that happen, we know that, like, okay, somewhat panic mode, but like as soon as something maybe potentially gets knocked out or whatever, if we have to sack something, we sack something, and then we go straight into Mega Gallade and we knock it out with a close combat.
Yeah, I mean, Mega Gallade is really good. The kind of wish we had room for a 5th move here. You know, 4-move syndrome. But
if I had a 5th move, I would have Leaf Blade, 100%,
or
to
even
hit the
Sword
flag,
Dance.
or even Swords Dance. Yeah, Swords Dance would be great, but if we had 6 moves. Perfect move set.
Didn't like Ash's Snorlax one time have 6 moves?
It had like 10. That was a crazy shit. That anime is absolutely wild and out there. They're wild and out. It's crazy. But CC will, between our dual stabs, will pretty much blow back a majority of our opponent's team. Pretty much just tears through. If it doesn't resist it, it's going to take a massive amount of damage because Mega Gallade's just that strong. Knockoff is obviously there to scout for Z moves / just kind of get rid of annoyances throughout the team. If we can get rid of a Scarf, if he wants to switch in something that has a Scarf, that's fine. If he switches in Terrakion on this and it's Scarfed, and we actually are going for Knockoff that turn, even if he gets a Justified boost, I'm not as scared at that point, just because of the simple fact that he no longer has a Scarf. So... And then we'll be able to outspeed him and close combat him on the following turn anyway. So we'll be in a much better position at that point.
I have no idea why you'd ever switch in a Terrakion on a Mega Gallade. So.
I've seen some really weird things happen in Draft League.
Yeah.
Over predictions happen, and I've been there. We also do have that Poison Jab because we needed something that can hit Mega Gardevoir really hard. And majority of the time, I'll even pull it up on the side here. It's like your standard Mega Gardevoir set. Like, if it's just a standard offensive set, you just pull out the blank set. It doesn't matter. Poison Jab will just straight up OHKO. Yeah. Which I feel like he has to bring a more offensive set. Says he has to be at least speedy, so he can outspeed a non-Scarfed Hydreigon or something like that. So he has to be speedy in some way. So, like, I don't see him bringing a super bulky set. And even if he goes max HP, he dies after rocks. Like, if he goes max HP, max speed, and some crazy nonsense, which still wouldn't be a bad set because it still hits really hard. But even if he goes like that, like, we still kill it after Stealth Rocks, so it's not really a huge issue. So I'm not too worried about that.
But yeah, Mega Gallade
puts in crazy work.
Yeah.
So the next mon we're going to be bringing this week is going to be the Shockmaster coming through the wall. Jolteon, nice Flame Orb Quick Feet Jolteon set this week. This is kind of a pseudo way of kind of slowing down or stopping the Scarf Terrak, if it's a thing, because once we get our Flame Orb up, which we're going to try to get up like as early as we possibly can, if possible, Like, I'd almost kind of consider leading this thing so we can pop our Flame Orb and potentially see like what he wants to go for early game. The earliest we can pop our Flame Orb, the better. Because that way it kind of gives us that free Scarf. So we'll be able to outspeed the Terrak, and if it's been whittled down a little bit, might even be in range of a Thunderbolt or an HP Grass or whatever. This is actually a last-minute change, though. We did have HP Ice on here initially for the Dragonite, but we have things on the rest of our team that we like. If we're 1v1 against Dragonite, we can Volt Switch out on it, head out into our other way of handling it, and then knock it out from there. So I'm not super duper worried about that. I think the HP Grass is better for the Quagsire, because Quagsire is a threat. If anyone tells you otherwise, they're lying to you.
I mean, what, it was like his last pick, but still.
Yeah, it was his last pick, but at the end of the day, it's a sleeper pick. I tried to get Quagsire, like, I big time wanted Quag in the PLW. You guys saw how pissed I was when I got sniped about that. I was really mad that I got sniped on Quag, because that is such a it's a low tier
god,
low tier legend. It is fantastic. Unaware is such a good ability, because he's bringing Unaware this week. Let's be real. We have the potential to be SD Glade and whatnot. He's bringing Unaware Quagsire without a doubt. With things like Blacephalon, he's not going to bring Water Absorb as like an extra way of just walling Toxapex. No. If he does that, he's stupid. I'm sorry. I will call it like it is. But HP Grass is important to hit that thing. Toxic is for potential switch-ins. Obviously, he can switch in the Nidoking pretty safely on this, but I'm not super worried about that. We can handle the Nidoking. I'm not like stressing the Nidoking. And like we can scout the set also off of other mons as well against the Nidoking, but realistically, I can get Toxic off on something like the Electros or the Shaman. Even though Shaman can Natural Cure switch out, it forces it to switch out at some point.
Exactly.
Which is really, really nice. It forces the switches. So, and getting a Toxic on Quagsire would be really, really great. Looking at his team, I think if he has a Cleric, I'm not seeing it. I think potentially either Mega Gardevoir or Mismagius might get Heal Bell. I think Shaman might have Aromatherapy, but I'm not 100% sure. But for the most part, I'm 90% sure that he doesn't have very solid Cleric potential. So the Toxic could be a very, very good solid thing for the team. And Volt Switch and Thunderbolt are just going to hit hard on everything. It's not immune or resisted. We're able to run Modest conveniently too, thanks to the Quick Feet. We're able to run Modest against his team because realistically we only have to invest enough to outspeed Terrakion. Because once we get our Flame Orb popped, we will be able to outspeed everything on his team. Scarfers included, doesn't really matter. So we'll be pretty safe in that sense. So Shockmaster's out here, breaking through walls and wearing Stormtrooper helmets. Anyway, we're about to hit the gong because we are summoning the Undertaker for our Week 1 matchup as well. Rocking the leftovers with the Unnerve ability. Stealth Rock, Rock Slide, Earthquake, and Toxic.
I mean, you mentioned earlier, rocks are really important.
Absolutely.
Pop Dragonite's multi-scale. And
Pop the multi-scale, chip away at the mons on his team if he wants to bring something like Regice, if he brings the Darmanitan. If he brings... I mean, anything's going to get chipped away, but like those things are the one that take the most damage off of those rocks, which is very important for us in this game. We are able to run a Jolly Nature with very little speed investment to outspeed everything on his team, barring Scarfers, which is really, really nice. And then I just kind of put all of the rest into physical defense because this thing needs to be able to take some hits. And realistically, it can take a lot of hits. This thing can actually take, if it's Scarf Terrak, this thing can actually take a close combat very nicely and Earthquake it right back, which is really cool. This thing can, like, pseudo take on Dragonite to a small extent, because Dragonite, realistically, based upon the majority of the moves it normally runs, can't really hurt Arrow all that much. And if it does, like, we have ways of beating whatever moves it can lock into to beat Arrow. Like, if it has to lock itself into Outrage, we have mons that can take Outrages without any real issue. So, that's pretty cool. Rock Slide and Earthquake are pretty much the only moves we needed this week. So I threw the Toxic on there because there's a couple mons that could switch into this that I would like to have Toxic. A good example of that would potentially be that Terrakion, because Terrakion might feel safe switching in. Also, the Quagsire could feel really, really safe switching into this, so Toxic is really, really nice to have. against Smon, so that would be really, really cool to get a Toxic on Quagsire. Anything to whittle down that Quagsire is beyond fantastic to me. So, but realistically, this thing's goal is to, 1, set up rocks, 2, maybe Toxic the Quagsire, get Toxics on 1 or 2 things, and maybe maybe pick up a knockout before it passes away into the next life and leaves his trench coat behind.
Anyway.
I'm going to make as many wrestling references as I can, Jarret. You understand this. It's going to happen. So, that's the plan with Aerodactyl. I think it's pretty solid set. Unnerve is also going to be really cool because if he is Shukaberry and Empoleon, he won't be able to munch on that berry if we go for an Earthquake against him. So we're getting like max damage Earthquake off on Empoleon every time, which is awesome. So that's pretty cool. I like that. Next up, we are bringing the Hounds of Justice themselves, the Shield, Choice Scarfed Hydreigon. We are running enough speed to outspeed Darmanitan, which is pretty much all we really need because I don't think he's going to bring a Scarf Shaman. Realistically, anything that's faster than this, I don't see it coming as Scarf or coming at all. Like, if we bring a Scarf Shaman, then we can beat that pretty easily. Like, Scarf Shaman's not as threatening. And realistically, if he was Scarf Shaman against us, we would have to lock himself into, like, Dazzling Gleam to really be a threat to Hydreigon. And we have, like, one very amazing switch into a potential Scarf Shaman on our team, like, that doesn't even care that Shaman's scarfed at all. So, I'm not complaining. I'll take it.
Hydreigon is just... It's going to put in a lot of work.
Yeah.
Scarf Dark Pulse, Scarf Dragon Pulse. I mean, the only thing we really would have to worry about would be Gardevoir.
Gardevoir potentially switching in, and, like, realistically, Gardevoir is one of his only real switch-ins to this mon on his team that can actually, like, take a hit, so we can easily catch that thing on a switch-in with a Flash Cannon.
Yeah, I was saying, worst case scenario, we are running Flash Cannon.
And we can do a very decent amount of damage to that thing, like a standard Gardevoir set, because we do still have Gardevoir standardly pulled up in the calcs. Nice and convenient, I know.
Does it 2-go? No, it doesn't.
Not if he's max HP, but if he's an offensive set, it has a chance. It has a very good chance to 2 a KO if he's straight up offensive.
I think
after rocks, he guaranteed 2 a KOs. So we pretty much have the Gardevoir handled with this mon, so it's pretty awesome.
The mon that should be a hard counter to this mon, we
pretty much have it handled, so I'm not super worried about it. The cool thing, and the smart thing, though, is we're not bringing Draco Meteor, because, yes, if we brought Draco Meteor, we could just completely annihilate Dragonite if its multi-scales pop, even the slightest. But then that leaves us vulnerable, and locked into Draco, and vulnerable for setup. At least if we go for Dragon Pulse, we're not... Yes, we're locked into Deep Pulse, but we're not weakening ourselves. Like, if we can get rid of the Gardevoir, and he has no other, like, immunity to Dragon Pulse, we can spam Dragon Pulse really solidly.
Literally, once we get rid of the Gardevoir...
We're safe.
Yeah, nothing like Dragon Pulse.
Exactly. So I think that's pretty solid. And we obviously have the U-turns, so we can keep grabbing some form of momentum, which would be really, really nice for us in this game. Yeah. So, yeet! Shield's going to put in a lot of work, I think. So next up, we have a little bit more of a wall for the team. We need something to kind of start taking hits besides Undertaker. So we're bringing the GTS, fully specially defensive Kamala, rocking the leftovers, Wish, Rapid Spin, Knockoff, U-turn. This thing's literally just to grab momentum, pass Wishes, keep any hazards off our side of the field. We do not want rocks up or anything like that at all. We want to avoid that as much as possible. And knock off any items on things that might potentially annoy us. Knockoff is literally there just in case he brings Miss Magius as well. If Miss Magius could easily just come in on this, but we can catch it with a knockoff without any real issue, and then take that thing out. So I'm not super worried about that. It can't be burned because of our Comatose ability, which is nice. And being Spadef, like, this is kind of a good switch into the Nidoking, because unless he's running a physical Nidoking, which would be really cool, don't get me wrong, I think that would be a really dope set. If he does run a physical Nidoking, then we can beat it a little easier. If he runs the special Nidoking that, like, everyone else runs, we can take hits from it very nicely. And between our leftovers and Wishes, we can heal up pretty well against it. Yeah,
I mean, Wish passing is always good. I mean, it's just... I hate facing anything with Wish. Because it just sucks. The only thing that this set is missing. What would make me literally never see it would be Protect, but yeah, no, we definitely need the rest of these moves. So,
yeah, for sure. So at least keeping up some form of momentum. Like U-turn will be nice too because we can kind of scout what his initial switch-ins would be to this mod like earlier in the game, and capitalize off of whatever there might be. So, like if he wants to go into Empoleon, then we can just be U-turning out and capitalizing, either going to Arrow or Jolteon to beat it down. If he goes into Dragonite, we're popping the multi-scale, and we're going to be heading out to something that can KO the Dragonite. A lot of options that we can pretty much counter by just going for a U-turn pretty safely. And, like, realistically, if he doesn't get rocks up and Kamala ends up on the field, we're just going to click U-turn 9 out of 10 times, unless we really need to pass a wish into something. And, like, that's really situational. But, like, if we need to pass a wish, then we'll obviously be going for the wishes. But most part, this thing's going to be clicking U-turn and just keeping up some form of momentum against our opponent. And then the last Mon we're going to be bringing out here. Did you hear that, Jarret?
Oh,
you can hear voices. You can hear voices. We are bringing Tox Apex Predator, the Toxapex, with that nice regenerator ability, keeping himself healthy.
I didn't realize how bulky he is.
Oh god, yeah.
Like, if any, like usually when a Pokemon is like, you see one stat that's like above like 130, like wow, that's great. You look at him and you have 2. That's insane.
So much bulk, and I love it. We bring in 248 HP, 136 defense with the Bold Nature, 120 into Spadef, and then 4 into Speed. That 4 into Speed is literally so that we can outspeed a min-speed Quagsire and hit it with a Toxic before he hit us with an Earthquake or an Earth Power. Always thinking, boys. Always thinking. We smart boys out here. So that could be really, really cool if we can outspeed that thing. If he doesn't bring it at all, that's even better. But that 4 EVs was just going to go somewhere else and not do anything, but at least now we put it in speed, and now it actually has purpose.
Like,
so,
like for real, though, if you what, you going to put that 4 EVs in
special attack?
Or Fizz Def? Like,
oh, boy.
Oh, no. You might...
We're decreasing the damage we're about to take by 0.1%.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, boy.
But, yeah, I mean, like... You mentioned the only thing that could have went would be a special attack, but this thing isn't really meant to hit hard.
Yeah, like the basic purpose of this Mon is that it has a couple different options. Number 1, this is our main switch if it is a Scarf Terrak. This to kind of scout for the Scarf Terrak. Terrak hits the field, we go immediately into Toxapex. Without even a second thought in my mind, we're going Toxapex. And based upon the damage he does to us, we will be able to know what kind of set he is. We are EV'd with these defensive investments that he cannot 2KO us with a Choice Scarfed Earthquake, which is really, really nice. So then we'll be able to know, alright, he's Choice Scarfed, at the under half, he's Choice Scarfed, or he's either Choice Scarfed or Z-move, and then we'll play it by ear from there. Potentially maybe even switch out into something else. Try to scout for the Z. It'd be really cool if he was Groundium Z, and like we go into Toxapex, we eat like 1 hit, and then we switch out into Arrow as he goes for like the Groundium, and then we just immediately dodge. Strats.
Potentially. You never know.
Strat. We don't know what's gonna happen, but it's all up here. The strats are all saved in this bank, so that's cool. If he's SD Terrak, we can take any 1 hit from Terrakion, even at +2. So we can click Haze and just get rid of his SD. So we're basically forcing him to either kill Toxapex and then allowing us to go into something else that can easily beat the Terrak, which we have 3 Mons that are just chilling over here, faster than the Terrak that can do big damage to it ASAP. So we can Haze him and then force him to kill us, or try to set up on us again, and we could potentially get like a Burn, a Scald, or something along those lines, would be even better. Lastly, we have the Pyapa Berry, and the Pyapa Berry is there because this thing can also switch in pretty safely to the Hyper Voices from Mega Gardevoir. And we have the Pyapa so that we can take a Hyper Voice plus a Psyshock, and then we can hit him with that nice Toxic so that we can whittle down the Mega Gardevoir as well, so we can play around that thing pretty nicely. And literally just put Scald, because if something wants to switch into a Scald, and it gets burned,
Takes 2.4%. I mean,
it won't take much damage, but a burn is a burn.
30% chance burns.
I will take that 30% chance to burn everything. If I can get a burn on something, I'm going to burn it.
Oh, imagine getting a burn on Scarf Terrakion.
Oh, that would be so good.
Literally just make him obsolete.
Cucked. Yeah. Would you say he would
stop,
fade away,
and
classify himself as obsolete?
Obsolete.
Delete.
Delete. Yeah. Anyway.
Delete.
Yeah. I mean, overall, this team we're facing is definitely terrifying. Especially Scarf Terrakion. Dragon Knight's still scary. Gardevoir is scary. Even Mons that you wouldn't think would be scary are kind of scary. Like, recently I remember watching aDrive versus Calais. That showed me the true scariness of Darmanitan.
Darmanitan's a beast. Darmanitan's too scary.
Yeah,
so if played right, if played right by our opponent, it's going to be a really tough matchup. But I think with the prep that we have brought, I think we have a very, very good chance of picking up the W here. It's just going to be we're going to have to really, really work hard on this battle. Like, this is going to be a tough one for sure. This is going to be a rough one. So with that, I think we've covered this team to the best of our abilities. If you guys have enjoyed, make sure to leave a like down below. Subscribe if you have not already.
In that direction, maybe, I don't know.
Somewhere around here.
I don't know. I'm just being an annoying
It's down there
YouTuber.
somewhere. It's just
an annoying YouTuber.
It's down there. To check that out. Also, go to the description, click on my Twitch, and that'd be dope to go follow my Twitch. Because
you need them followers.
I need followers. Yeah, I'm trying to get affiliate. I'm trying to affiliate myself with Twitch.
Yeah.
I need more affiliates in my life. So, with that being said, I'm going to get out of here.
See ya.
We got Jarret. I'm PokePrimer. Peace out. Adios.